What's special about Ohio Start is that we have family peer mentors that have lived experience in both recovery as well as having experience with the child welfare system as a client. Makes people believe that, hey, if you did it, I can do it too.
Just working with her makes me so much more aware of how I need to be more sensitive sometimes to people and their addiction or even their mental health.
I had stigma of what it would be like to actually work with a worker since I experienced it in such a traumatic way as a child and then as an adult. It allows me to then share with our families, they're people too. They're here doing a job. They're not here to attack you. They're not here to beat you down. They want to be a support.
The family peer mentor is a big aspect. I didn't realize how important it was till I did. We're unable to get into houses sometimes because they're so scared of Miss Page. They don't know her yet. Same person today goes out to lunch with her and goes treatment with her. And it helps bridge the gap.
There's things going on in cases, I get to bounce them off Sammy that normally I wouldn't as a caseworker. I just talk to my supervisor. We don't have learned experience. I might see something on a visit and ask him, what do you think that was? What do you think's going on, kind of thing. So that's very helpful.
To see the caseworker and family peer mentor work together, I think helps families to have more belief in the caseworker and that the caseworker does care about their input and wants to see them be successful and believes that recovery is possible for them.
I didn't have anything like this, and I feel like things would have gone differently if I would have had that support and that empathy and someone working with me and helping my family understand.
We have experience. So I have experience with losing my children and being reunified, even though it wasn't through START. But I have that experience. I also have the addiction. I have almost 5 years sober, so I'm able to guide them through the recovery, give them tools, talk to them, be a big support, and they know they can relate to me, and they usually love that.
I am seeing the families about once a week for the first 90 days. Depending on the progress of how they're doing, we can drop down to bi-weekly. Unless they request to stay on, then I'll stay at weekly. About once a month, I'm going into the home wherever the families are, and I'm teaching them a family engagement. This allows the parents to then learn how to parent sober, and also just helps them to regain that relationship and establish that with their kiddos again.
In the past, CPS was the enemy to me. I'm staying as far away from them as I can. I'm not talking to them. I'm hiding everything from them that I can. So this was a time that I got to experience CPS in a good way and see that it wasn't always a bad experience or a bad thing, that it could turn out, good. So that was really eye-opening for me. This is the first time that I was able to look at it as help. My kids were actually removed from my husband, and I was incarcerated. And at that point, Marina could have went permanent custody.
Working with Deborah was going to be the least traumatic experience for these children. I knew that these children needed to be with their mom.
I don't know that anybody else would have given me the chance to show that I could change.
I didn't have that guidance in the beginning, so I think I had to learn everything the hard way. So now I'm kind of walking hand in hand with these families and sharing with them, okay, let's do this next. Let's take a breath. Let's process this event. How can we move forward? So it's just giving them that extra support that they need. And then it's also educating not just them, but their family on what substance use is, what mental health is, how can we wrap around services and help them understand how to also approach their family members that are struggling with these things.
A lot of our cases have burned a lot of their bridges, and they come into this without having that support of that person that's not fed up with everything they've done. So being that one person that meets them where they're at, having that understanding, giving them that hope, and that one person that hasn't given up on them yet.
And we don't give up on them. We don't judge them. I'm not gonna lie and say we don't get frustrated sometimes, and we do talk to them about the frustrations. We talk to them about the concerns, but we do it in a supportive manner, not an authoritative response.
It's difficult sometimes trying to talk somebody into saving their own life while simultaneously saving their kids' lives. But it's super, super empowering, because if you can work them through the stages of change, and I can just move them from not wanting to go to treatment to even thinking about it, that's progress.
Through Kia, I can learn too and do my job differently, because she can not only work with them and say, hey, that's not how this works, but she can come to me and say, that's not how a person in addiction is going to think, or that's not how this person's going to respond to that, so we need to rephrase it, or let's approach this differently.
I'm also a big advocate, so I advocate for them. We had one that had a false positive, and I said, there's no way she's getting high. Like, I talked to her about it, I confronted her, I said, this is what happened, what's going on? And she said, I'm not getting high, I'm not doing anything I'm not supposed to be doing. And it was genuine, and I knew, I could tell in her eyes, I could tell in her voice, I could tell everything. And I went to Ashley and I said, she's not getting high. It's a false positive, and it can be anything.
I know that this is my purpose. Like, I'm alive, I'm here, I'm able to share what worked for me in hopes that this helps the family. And I think that more importantly, I'm learning and I'm getting back way more, I think, than I'm giving to these families, because this is what keeps me sober, it keeps me going, it's a part of recovery and service work, and it's also just continuously spreading that hope that, you know, it's possible.
I don't want to make a call on something that can change their life forever just by a couple pieces of paper because I've seen them once. Like, I love the relationships and getting to know them on a more personal level.
I'm hoping that Ohio Start is the new wave of the future. The fact that it does put the family first. The fact that we do get their input and not just tell them, this is what you're going to do because I say you need to.
I had a particular family about a year ago. They decided that they wanted to work through a faith-based recovery. They had actually invited Sarah and I to watch their baptism. And it was really a full circle moment for me, because it was watching this family that we met at their absolute lowest point get to a place where they felt comfortable with us to experience one of their highest moments.